part B of this episode. Mr. Son is still very much with us. Please listen and use everything that you gain from this. You are welcome. Now, you mentioned the importance of ensuring that where children are taken to school has measures for safeguarding them. Now, what do you say to the recent incidents we had that a school teacher, or was it the proprietress, abducted a 5-year-old, kidnapped her, and eventually killed the girl? What more can parents do? Who can you trust? You know, you did acknowledge that parents must work.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yes. So that's why we say that every for the school where that incident occurred, for most schools, or for, let me not say that school particularly, for most schools, their signs are usually there. But because of our selfishness, we take our eyes away from this. I'm sure that person, that man, or the man that adopted that child, I'm sure he would have been a violent person towards children in the school. So those are signs.
You would have exhibited some traits.
Signs, yeah, some traits of maybe not being able to kill, to go to that extent. But you'll have seen in his words, in his actions, some things, they are clear that, yes. But because we also believe as parents, the way we parent in the olden days, parents must begin to understand that this is 21st century, and there is development, and also there's also development in the way we parent, the parenting patterns. And so but because parents also see it as normal thing, so we take our eyes off it and we say, because of I like that man because it's very, very tough. He doesn't take nonsense. Not knowing that the nonsense is not taking is the opportunity to harm children. So I think for parents, yes, parents must work like the church. But if you ensure that this school has a child protection policy, do they even have? How many schools has it?
Policy.
Yes, how many schools has the child protection policy? And how many schools are, even for some schools that have the child protection policy, how many parents are aware of this policy? So because it's not restricted, it's not limited to the workers in the school, that means the teaching and non-teaching staff. It must also extend, the parents must also know about this policy. Okay, what are the steps? What steps are they taking? In terms of this kind of proprietor, the case of that we mentioned,
yes.
What steps, has it done? What are the things he has done in the past that could warrant you, putting your child, what is the record for, of that person?
Track record
His
of
track
the school.
record of the school, the track record of the individuals in that school. Those are the things we must begin to check before we put our child in a school. Not just because they say that school produced the best mathematics in their mathematician.
All A's.
All A's. Those are the things we look out for. But I watched recently, just yesterday, I watched a clip on a Facebook page, and it affirmed my position that things that even those of us that talk about our teachers, we don't talk about those teachers or those school proprietors or proprietresses because of the mathematics or English they taught us. It is because of the care, the protection they provided to us while we were in their school. Yeah, so maybe when I was going through ones there, they were able to bring me. I could remember that auntie. She was one that always, when I arrive in the morning, she gives me money for food. She gives me this. It's not because she was the one that taught me how to know. That taught me
care.
So it's a care. So that tells us that the first responsibility of every parent is this care. It's not the mathematics that the child is going to learn. So even if you are taking your child to that school and they know, they are the best in the country, you must watch out for those other things that will keep your child safe around there. So once that is done, then I think we'll be able to overcome some of these things that we overcome. We cannot say we'll overcome them totally, because even in senior society, in the UK, the US, there are still issues. People are still trying to bypass the law. We still have cases of footballers even going as far as sexually abusing children. but it does not. But if we're able to, at least it's limited compared to what we have down here. So I think by taking up our responsibility, and let me use the word shine your eye, by shining our eyes clearly and not just closing our eyes from other things that are happening around us, then we'll be able to identify those safe areas and those unsafe places for our children.
Okay, so now what you are saying is this: if I want to take my child to a school,
Yes.
I should ask for their policy.
Yes, policy
In black and white.
Yes,
Because if you ask questions, yes, ma'am, what is your plan for safeguarding? They will have something to say.
Yes.
But there
What
must
is
be something documented policy.
Nigeria has, we know there are rules and regulations in the country.
Code of conduct.
And so, we can, if you say it sometimes, it does not make any sense until somebody says there is a constitution. According to the constitution of, so we want it documented.
Okay.
There are things that we already know that we talk about, but they want it documented. So every parent should begin to ask the school, where is your child protection policy? And then, there are some simple questions. Okay, what if this happens to the child? What is if somebody comes to the school and takes a child away, okay, what would the school do about it? The response of the head teacher could give you an idea of, what they will do or what they will not do, and so you understand if the school is safe enough for you. Or if other children because there are cases of child-to-child abuse, which is really, really going on that we are not paying attention to. So you could ask questions about children, how do they relate to them, how do they handle child-to-child issues. And so if they say, that is their problem, their parents, then you know that this is not the safe place for the child.
Thank you. Before we round off this session, I'd like you to please expatiate on exploitation.
Okay, so when we talk about exploitation, yes, it's another form of abuse, but when we talk about exploitation, it's when somebody takes advantage of a child for self-gratification, like a typical example is when you use a child for labor in your home, and then somebody, when the child is working, somebody is coming to get the money. So you are using the child for a purpose which somebody else is for another person's enjoyment. Let me put it in a way. And so the person is the one collecting the money, and then that is exploitation. That means, or when you take advantage of a child because he or she does not have of a girl child or a boy child, because he or she does not have the power or the strength or the knowledge as much as you have, and you use that to manipulate that child, and then you engage that child in sexual conduct, then that could be exploitation. It just means that taking advantage of a child.
So you spoke about schools having child protection policies written down in black and white. As the Child Protection Network, the association, what is the association doing to enforce and ensure that these schools have these policies written down and they're actually abiding by them?
Okay, thank you very much. At Child Protection Network level, we can only support, or let me say, we can also ensure, but we can't enforce, because we are not a government agency or ministry, or even though those government agencies, the ministries, some department of government are also part of Child Protection Network. So what we do is to give necessary support to these agencies like the Ministry of Education. So what we're planning, what is in the pipeline now is to get this done at the federal level, get the Federal Ministry of Education to come up with a child protection policy, and also like a statement with a policy document which is going to be mandatory for all schools. But at our level, at NGO level, many of our organizations, we encourage many of our organizations to work with private schools. But so those organizations that understand, because it's another thing, many organizations who do not really understand what the child protection policy entails. But at that level, we try to encourage, every opportunity we get, we try to encourage private schools, at least, since those ones are individually owned. But so we talk to the head of school, we go to what do you call the association?
Parents
School.
chats,
The NAPS
Association
of
National
School
Heads
Association
or
of
something.
Primary.
yeah.
So we talk to them at that level. But for government schools, we try to work with the government ministry so that they can have it, because once the Ministry of Education, for example, has it means that it has covered all the schools in that state or in that country, and so it's just for them to now enforce and make sure that all schools are by it. So that's what we're doing. So we try to give our support in terms of helping them to develop it, and then they go ahead to enforce and make sure that it becomes implemented. But for Child Protection Network now, we are still in discussion and trying to get Ministry of Education to do the necessary thing, because we are seeing a lot of things happening around in the country at this time, and so it's big. It calls for real urgent attention and urgent action right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, parents. Mr. Sonny would be back because he's loaded and he has a lot, to say to us on this issue. So in the next episode, we're still going to have him. Now, in the course of Mr. Sonny's speech or presentation, he said something that I want us to take home, from this episode. That our relationship with people around us, in the neighborhood, even relations, will determine their attitude to our children. So part of child protection is for us to have a good relationship with people around us, so they can watch our back when we are not there, when it concerns our children. And that brings to mind the case of a lady who was raped by her cousin, who lived with the family and claimed that she did it because the mother was wicked to him. So, part of child protection is our own lifestyle. It goes a very long way. Thank you very much for watching. If you are yet to subscribe, kindly do. Please share, and we expect your comments to guide us as we go forward in protecting our children and ensuring that all our children have memorable childhood. Once again, Mr. Sonny, we appreciate you. We expect you at the next episode.
Thank you.
Mrs. Adeniji, our moderator, thank you for always being there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.